So I've just brought you to the edge of Boroughbridge, not to show you this housing estate, but to show you these monuments. These are 2 of 3 standing monoliths known as the Devil's Arrows. Some of the finest standing stones in the country, but you wouldn't necessarily believe it. There's 2 of them, and you can see there a sign for Boroughbridge Marina, which is an unlikely thing to spot. And there we go, there's the 3rd. That's the largest. So we'll just walk over to that one. So here we can see the largest of the 3. I've just crossed the road. This one stands at nearly 7 meters tall, making it the 2nd largest standing stone in the country after the Rudston monolith. It's really quite substantial. You can see it's made out of millstone grit, and it's got those same distinctive weathering marks at the top as the Rudston monolith has. And some excavations in the 19th century showed that it goes down into the ground by almost another 2 meters. So we're talking about a really very substantial looking monolith. Here you can see a little blue plaque which tells us that it's thought to be 2700 BC. And although these monuments are often thought to be late Neolithic, they are at the moment completely undated, and one wonders whether they might actually be early Neolithic in date. Now we're just walking back around past the sign to Boroughbridge Marina to the other 2 standing stones. Here we are, just walking up towards those other 2 monoliths, and you can get a strong sense of their size as we get closer to them. Interestingly, these 3 monoliths are described as being in a line, but quite clearly they're not. There's a slight kink to them, and there would have been more as well. There's at least another 2 that are now no longer upstanding, but perhaps many more evident that will be evident below ground if we were to do some geophysics and maybe a bit of excavation. So here we can see the 2nd one, which is slightly smaller again, about 6.7 meters tall, and the 3rd one quite a bit denuded. Presumably it's been broken at some point in the past. But these monuments generally form an alignment pointing toward the meander and a fording point, and it seems as if in prehistory this whole area was actually really rather important, a little bit like the Avebury or Stonehenge area down in Wiltshire. If I just walk around this monolith and look back, we can see the 1st one there in the distance showing the alignment. And again, this was excavated in the antiquarian period and was found to go at least another 1.5 meters into the ground. But this area is the area that will give us the dates if there's any archaeology left to be found. Walking up to this 3rd monolith, the 3rd of the 3 standing stones. This one much smaller, only about 5.5 meters tall. And again, excavations in the 19th century show that it goes down into the ground a good 1.5 meters. Again, all 3 of them made of millstone grit and with that distinctive sort of eroded lines on the top. These stones are not natural to this area. They've been brought in from a good 7 miles to the southwest of here, at a place called Plumpton Rocks, where you can also see stones of a similar shape and that same distinctive fluting that eroded into the top of them. So you can only imagine how difficult it must have been bringing stones of this sort of size across 7 miles of terrain and then erecting them here in Boroughbridge. So here are the first 2 of those standing stones, and if I turn around you can see the third one there. If we were to continue this alignment down to the River Ure by another 170 odd metres, we would meet a fording point in the river, and that may give us some clue as to why this area was of importance. Excavations just to the west in this field have shown a fairly intense group of prehistoric features, suggesting that this area was of considerable importance. And you can probably hear and perhaps see the road over there. That's the A1M, and that would have most certainly been a key routeway back in the prehistoric period. In common with many other megalithic sites, the Devil's Arrows are associated with all sorts of fairs and folklore and myths and legends. In this case, these stones are associated with the Fair of St Barnabas on Midsummer's Day, when people would gather in the area. It's also said that the devil threw these down in an attempt to attack Aldborough and missed and got Boroughbridge instead. And others have told me that if you walk around them anti-clockwise a number of times, you can call up the devil himself.